Most of us say we want to grow, to improve, to become better versions of ourselves. But the moment someone points out one of our flaws, even gently, says, something inside us just tightens up. Our heart rate picks up, our chest contracts, and we feel this wave of discomfort before we even have a chance to think. In that moment, we're not really hearing what the other person is saying. We're hearing something else entirely. We hear, "There is something wrong with you." And what's our first impulse? We defend ourselves. We argue. We push back. Or maybe we just withdraw, quietly wounded and resentful. Why does this happen? Why do we, as human beings, hate being criticized so much, even when the criticism is true, or even when it's meant to help? It's a universal feeling, and the reasons go much deeper than you might think. Let's explore the hidden psychology behind our aversion to criticism. From a psychological perspective, our brain doesn't register criticism as neutral, objective information. It registers it as a threat. Think about it. Your ego, that sense of self you carry around, doesn't exist to find the absolute truth. Its primary job is to protect your identity, your feeling of being okay. So when we're criticized, the mind immediately translates it as, "My value is under attack." And whenever your value feels threatened, your brain kicks into survival mode. It activates the exact same system it would use for physical danger: fight, flight, or freeze. That's why we get angry and lash out. That's the fight response. It's why we get defensive and start making excuses. That's a form of flight. And it's why we sometimes just shut down emotionally and coy and even speak that the freeze response. This isn't because we're weak or overly sensitive. It's because our ego is hardwired to survive, and it perceives criticism as a direct threat to its existence. But have you ever noticed that not all criticism hurts the same? Some comments roll right off our backs, while others hit us like a punch to the gut. Why is that? So it's because the ones that sting the most are usually touching on old, unresolved wounds. Maybe as a child, you were constantly compared to a sibling or a classmate. Maybe you felt judged instead of understood by the people who were supposed to support you. Perhaps you were labeled as not good enough, or were publicly embarrassed at a vulnerable time. Your nervous system remembers that emotional pain, even if you don't consciously think about it. So when someone criticizes you in the present, it's not just about what's happening right now. It's like a key unlocking a door to the past. A simple, offhand remark can reawaken that deep-seated belief: I am not enough. And that's why it hurts so much. The pain doesn't come from the words themselves, but from the heavy, old meaning our minds attach to them. This leads us to one of the most damaging psychological mistakes we all make. We confuse our behavior with our identity. When someone gives us feedback, we don't hear, "This one action you took could be improved." Instead, we hear, "You are a failure." We fuse the two together. But the truth is, you are not your behavior. You are not your mistakes. And you are definitely not other people's opinions of you. A mistake is an event, not a person. When we tie our entire identity to every single thing we do, any form of feedback becomes a deeply personal attack. Real psychological maturity begins the moment we can separate the two. It's when we can honestly say to ourselves, "I have value, even when I am wrong. My worth is not up for debate." Without this separation, true growth is impossible because we're too busy defending our identity to ever learn from our actions. And what's at the core of all this? What's the ultimate fear that criticism triggers? It's the fear of rejection. As human beings, we are fundamentally social creatures. For most of our evolutionary history, being rejected or cast out by the tribe literally meant death. You couldn't survive alone. Even though our modern world is very different, that ancient part of our brain still whispers, "If they reject me, I will be alone." Criticism taps directly into this deep, primal fear. The fear of not being loved. The fear of not belonging. The fear of being abandoned. That's why we crave validation and are terrified of judgment. Criticism is rarely just about feedback for us. It's about our place in the social world. It activates our deepest fears of exclusion. Now, here's the paradox. Truly confident people seem to fear criticism less. Why is that? It's because they don't need to constantly protect themselves. They have a core understanding that they are imperfect. They know they will make mistakes. And most importantly, they know their inherent worth does not depend on being right all the time. People with fragile egos defend their ego. People with secure egos examine themselves. True confidence isn't about thinking, "I am always right." True confidence is having the strength to say, "I can face the truth about myself, whatever it may be." It's the ability to look at your flaws without letting them define you. So, how can we start to handle criticism with more maturity and less pain. First, and this is the most important step, pause before you react. Don't argue immediately. Don't rush to explain yourself. Just take a deep breath. Your first reaction is almost always driven by instinct, not by wisdom. Give wisdom a chance to catch up. Second, learn to separate the messenger from the message. Look, not everyone who criticizes you will be right, and not everyone will have good intentions. But that doesn't mean the message itself has zero value. Ask yourself honestly, is there something here, even just a small piece, that's worth reflecting on? Third, ask yourself a powerful, transformative question. If this is true, what can I learn from it? This single question is it shifts your focus from the pain of being judged to the opportunity for growth. It turns a wound into a lesson. And fourth, always remember this fundamental truth. You do not need to be perfect to be worthy. Your value is not earned through flawlessness. Your value is inherent, and it's expressed through your willingness to learn and grow. In the end, nobody truly enjoys being criticized. That's just a part of being human. But emotionally mature people don't get stuck asking, why are they saying this about me? Instead, they ask a much more powerful question. Who can I become because of this? Criticism is like an uncomfortable mirror. It can be jarring to look at, but sometimes, it shows us exactly what we need to see to move forward. And when you finally stop fearing criticism, you are no longer controlled by other people's opinions. You are free. And that is true inner freedom. Thanks for watching.